My therapist says I need to stop calling myself names, but some days I sit in this empty apartment in Topeka, and the word idiot feels like the only one that fits. It's been 10 months since Dexter walked out of that Italian restaurant, leaving me with cold pasta and the check, and I still can't believe I threw away 3 years for one drunken night with a coworker whose last name I can't even remember. I'm Mallory, 29 years old, though I'll be 30 in 2 weeks. 30 and single, living in a studio apartment that smells like the Indian restaurant downstairs, working at a call center because I got fired from my marketing job for inappropriate workplace conduct. That's corporate speak for screwing your married colleague at the company New Year's party. The worst part about turning 30 alone is that I had it all planned out with Dexter. We were supposed to go to Italy. He'd already been researching restaurants in Rome, had bookmarked this little bed and breakfast in Tuscany where they made their own wine. 30 is a milestone, he'd said last September, pulling me close on his couch. We should celebrate it right. Now my birthday plans consist of a pity party with my mom, who'll inevitably ask what happened to that nice boy with the truck. But let me back up, because you need to understand who Dexter was, and why losing him feels like losing a winning lottery ticket you forgot to cash. I met him in January 2022 when my car got a flat on Highway 70 outside Kansas City. It was already dark, freezing cold, and my phone was at 2% battery. I'd been sitting there for 20 minutes, hazard lights blinking, when this truck pulled up behind me. My first thought was serial killer. That's what you think when you're alone on the side of the road and some random man approaches your car. But then I saw his face in my side mirror, kind eyes, uncertain smile, keeping a respectful distance. "Need some help?" he called out. "My friend's coming," I lied, gripping my dead phone. "Okay, no problem. I'll just wait here until they arrive. Make sure you're safe." Something about the way he said it, standing there in the cold rather than getting back in his warm truck, made me trust him. I let him change my tire, even gave him my license to hold as insurance. He was quick, efficient, didn't try to chat me up or make it weird. I watched him work through my rearview mirror, the way his breath came out in clouds in the January cold, how he handled the lug wrench with practiced ease. He had kind hands. I remember thinking that was a weird thing to notice, but they were gentle with my car, careful not to scratch the rim. "You should get this spare replaced soon," he said, tightening the last bolt. "It's not meant for long-term driving." Maybe 20 miles max. 20 miles, I repeated, mentally calculating if that would get me home to Westport. When my friend Valerie finally showed up, 45 minutes late because she was finishing up at the gym, Dexter was putting my blown tire in the trunk. "How can I repay you?" I asked, genuinely grateful. "No need," he said, heading for his truck. "Please let me buy you lunch or something." He paused, looked at me with this little smile. "Are you single?" "Yes." "Then lunch sounds good." I should have known right then he was different. Most guys would have asked for my number immediately, tried to close the deal on the spot. Dexter just gave me his business card. He worked in IT security, had his own consulting firm, and let me text him when I was ready. That first lunch turned into dinner, then hiking, then movie nights. He didn't push for anything physical, didn't love-bomb me with constant texts, didn't try to lock me down after 3 dates like every other guy I'd dated. "I'm enjoying getting to know you," he said after our 4th date. "No need to rush anything." My friends thought he was gay. "No straight man waits that long," Valerie insisted. "He's either gay or has a micro-penis." But Dexter just had standards. Experience. He was 31, had been burned before, knew exactly what he wanted. And apparently, for a while at least, what he wanted was me. His ex cheated on him with 10 different guys over 2 years, his sister Rachel told me later, after we'd gotten close. He found out because she gave him chlamydia. Can you imagine? He was planning to propose. That explained the methodical approach, the careful walls. He'd rebuilt himself into someone who could spot red flags from miles away. Every time I picked up my phone during dinner, I'd catch him watching. Not suspicious exactly, just aware. "Sorry," I'd say, putting it face down. "Work stuff?" "It's fine," he'd respond, but I knew he was filing it away, comparing me to patterns he'd learned the hard way. At the time, I thought it was just a little quirk, a traumatic. I didn't realize it was a test I was already failing. By July, after 5 months of casual dating, I was the one who brought up exclusivity. Me. The girl who'd spent her 20s avoiding commitment like it was contagious. "I want us to be official," I said over tacos at our favorite place. "You sure?" He studied my face. "Because exclusive means exclusive, no more singles behavior, no more girls' nights that end at 4 a.m., no more entertaining DMs from random dudes." "I'm sure?" And I was. Dexter was everything I'd claimed I didn't want but secretly needed. Stable, secure, had his life together. He owned a house in Overland Park, drove a paid-off truck, had a retirement account and health insurance and all those boring adult things that suddenly seemed sexy. My parents loved him. My dad, who hadn't approved of anyone I'd dated since high school, actually invited Dexter to go fishing. My mom started dropping hints about grandchildren. For a year, everything was perfect. We took trips, Colorado, Nashville, even Cancun for my birthday. He taught me how to ski, I taught him how to dance salsa, we had inside jokes, favorite restaurants, a whole life building together. His friends became my friends. His sister and I went shopping together. I had a key to his house, a drawer in his bedroom, a future I could actually see. The house was in this quiet neighborhood in Overland Park, one of those post-war bungalows he'd fixed up himself. I'd spend weekends there, pretending it was already ours. Making breakfast in his kitchen while he read news on his tablet, folding laundry together while watching true crime documentaries, planning where we'd put a bigger couch when I eventually moved in. "I want to build a deck out back," he said one October afternoon, showing me sketches he'd drawn. "Big enough for entertaining. Maybe a fire pit for winter." "Our kids would love that," I said without thinking. He looked up sharply, then smiled. "Yeah, they would." That was the first time either of us had mentioned kids. The word hung there between us, fragile and full of possibility. He reached for my hand, and I felt like my whole life was finally making sense. Then came the company New Year's party. Pinnacle Marketing always went all out for New Year's. Open bar, fancy venue, everyone dressed up like they were trying to impress someone. I wore this black dress that cost more than I should have spent, wanted to look good in the pictures. Dexter was supposed to come, but got called to an emergency client meeting in Dallas. Some bank's system got hacked. They needed him immediately. "Go," I said when he called, apologizing. "Make that money, I'll just show face and leave early." "You sure? I can try to reschedule." "Don't be silly. It's just a work party." Famous last words. The party was at the Marriott downtown. By the time I arrived, everyone was already 3 drinks in. My coworker, Brianna, grabbed me immediately. "Thank God you're here." "Come do shots with us." "I'm not really drinking tonight," I said. "1 shot won't kill you." 1 shot became 3. 3 became 5. By 11 p.m., I was dancing with a group from the sales department, feeling invincible in that drunk way where everything seems like a good idea. That's when Renzo from accounting appeared. Renzo, who'd been flirting with me since I started at Pinnacle 3 years ago. Renzo, who wore too much cologne and had a wife and 2 kids in Olathe. He was one of those guys who thought he was God's gift to women because he did CrossFit and had an MBA. Always finding excuses to stop by my desk, always commenting on my outfits, always testing boundaries to see what he could get away with. "Looking good, Mal," he'd say, eyes doing that gross up and down thing. "That boyfriend of yours is a lucky man." I'd always brushed him off before. Professional but cold. But tonight, drunk and vindictive about Dexter being gone, I didn't immediately shut him down. "Where's the boyfriend?" he asked, handing me another drink I didn't need. Jack and Coke too strong, but I drank it anyway. Working? On New Year's? That's cold. He's successful, I shot back. Something you wouldn't understand. He laughed, moving closer. Feisty tonight, I like it. You know, Tracy's at her sister's with the kids. Something about needing space to think about our marriage. He made air quotes around the last part. Been sleeping in the guest room for 3 months. I should have recognized the manipulation, the calculated sob story designed to make his interest seem less predatory. Sober me would have seen right through it. But drunk me just heard a fellow victim of relationship problems. Someone who understood being alone when you shouldn't be. I should have walked away. Should have called an Uber, gone home to my empty apartment, FaceTimed Dexter at midnight like we'd planned. Instead, I let Renzo keep buying me drinks, let him pull me onto the dance floor, let him whisper in my ear about how good I looked, how Dexter was an idiot for missing this, how he'd never let work come before me. At midnight, when everyone was kissing and cheering, Renzo kissed me, and I kissed him back. Let's get out of here, he breathed against my neck. I can't. Come on, he's in Dallas. What he doesn't know won't hurt him. The sick thing is, that logic made sense to drunk me. Dexter was hundreds of miles away, probably asleep in some hotel. One stupid mistake, one night of feeling wanted by someone who was actually there. We took the elevator to the 12th floor. Renzo had gotten a room just in case. He'd planned this, I realized later. Targeted me the second he knew Dexter wasn't coming. The room was generic, sterile. Nothing like Dexter's bedroom with its dark blue walls and the reading chair by the window where I'd curl up while he worked. This was just white walls and bad art, and a bed that had seen 1,000 bad decisions. Having second thoughts? Renzo asked, already loosening his tie. I should have said yes, should have run. Instead, I said, shut up and kiss me. I'll spare you the details. It was quick, awkward, nothing like the movies make cheating seem. Afterward, lying in that hotel bed that smelled like his cologne, I felt nothing but disgust. My phone had 14 missed calls from Dexter. Shit, I whispered, seeing the time. 1:47 a.m. What's wrong? Renzo asked, reaching for me again. I shoved his hand away, suddenly nauseous. I have to go. The texts were sweet, worried. Hey baby, just checking you made it home safe. Call me when you get this. Getting worried, please just let me know you're okay. The last one? I'm calling Valerie. I have to go, I said, gathering my clothes. Stay. Tracy thinks I'm crashing at my brother's. Tracy? Your wife's name is Tracy? Somehow I'd never known that. She'd been a concept, not a person with a name. Yeah, so... I left without another word, took an Uber home in my wrinkled dress and smeared makeup. Threw up twice, though I told myself it was the alcohol. The next morning, Dexter called from Dallas. Happy New Year, baby. Sorry I missed midnight. It's okay, I lied, my voice hoarse. Party was boring anyway. You sound rough. Too much champagne? Something like that. Valerie said you weren't answering your phone. I got worried. My heart stopped. You called Valerie? Yeah, around 1. She said she'd been texting you too, but you went dark after 11. Everything okay? I could hear concern in his voice. Real worry. He'd been in a Dallas hotel room, probably still in his work clothes, calling my friends because I'd gone silent. Meanwhile, I'd been in a different hotel room, destroying everything we'd built. My phone died, I said, the lie bitter on my tongue. I got a ride home with Brianna. Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure you were safe. This client is insane, Mal. Their whole system was compromised. I'll probably be here another 2 days. Take your time, I said, meaning it. I needed those 2 days to figure out how to look him in the eye again. I love you, he said. Love you too. I threw up as soon as we hung up. For 2 weeks, I pretended nothing happened. Deleted Renzo's texts, avoided him at work, convinced myself it was a one-time mistake that would die with me. Then Valerie cornered me at lunch. So, heard you had fun at the party? My blood froze. What do you mean? Brianna saw you leaving with Renzo, said you two looked pretty cozy. It wasn't, we just talked. Valerie laughed. Girl, please, you know I don't judge, but you better tell Dexter before someone else does. That night, I went to Dexter's house with a plan. Not to confess, God no, but to fix it, to make it so the confession would hurt less if it ever came out. We were eating Thai food, watching some Netflix show about serial killers, normal Tuesday night stuff. I've been thinking, I said, trying to sound casual. Dangerous, he teased. No, seriously, what if we opened things up a little? He paused with his pad thai halfway to his mouth. Opened things up? You know, like an open relationship, just to add some excitement. The look on his face should have stopped me. Confusion, hurt, suspicion all at once. A normal person would have backed down, apologized, and changed the subject. I just doubled down. He set down his chopsticks slowly, the way he did when processing something important. Where's this coming from? I launched into my prepared speech. How we were solid, how it would just be physical, how other couples did it successfully. I'd rehearsed it in my car on the drive over, but it sounded hollow now, like lines from a bad play. My friend Madison knows this couple who've been open for 3 years and they're super happy, I said, grasping at straws. They have rules and boundaries and... Madison? He frowned. The one who's been divorced twice? That's not relevant. Isn't it? He pushed his food away. Mal, what's really going on here? 3 days ago you were talking about kids on my future deck. Now you want to sleep with other people? Not sleep with... I mean, maybe, but it's more about the freedom to... To what? His voice was dangerously quiet. What freedom do you need that I'm not giving you? So you want to sleep with other people, he said flatly. We both could. It's fair. I don't want to sleep with other people. I want to sleep with you. But don't you think it would be exciting? New experiences? He set down his food, really looked at me. How long have you been thinking about this? Just recently, I lied. Who is he? What? There's no one... Mal, I've known you for a year. You can't lie to me. Who is he? I'm not lying. I just think we should consider... Show me your phone. The words hung between us like a blade. What? If there's no one else, if this is just a random idea, show me your phone. He pulled out his own phone, unlocked it, set it on the table. Here's mine. Full transparency. That's what you said open relationships need, right? Trust? My phone felt like a bomb in my pocket. Renzo's texts were deleted. But what about Instagram DMs? What about photos from the party? What if Brianna had tagged me in something? I don't need to see your phone, I said weakly. But I need to see yours. Why? Don't you trust me? Did you really just ask me that? He laughed, but it was bitter. You just asked permission to fuck other people and you're questioning my trust? This is exactly why I knew you'd react badly. You're so jealous and controlling. Stop. He stood up, started clearing the dishes with mechanical precision. Just stop. We both know what this is about. Dexter, you already cheated. This is your way of making it okay after the fact. My God, you're just like her, aren't you? Worse, even. At least she never tried to gaslight me into thinking it was my idea. That's not... Get out. I'd never heard him yell before. Dexter, who was always calm, always measured, was shaking with anger. Let's talk about this. There's nothing to talk about. You cheated, now you want permission to keep cheating. Get out of my house. I'm not leaving until we discuss this like adults. He pulled out his phone, started recording. Mallory, I've asked you to leave my property. This is your formal notice. If you don't leave, I'm calling the police. The phone in his hand was steady, but I could see the hurt behind the anger. This was the man who'd spent 6 months planning my surprise birthday trip to Cancun, who'd held my hair when I got food poisoning, who'd driven 3 hours to pick me up when my car broke down in Colombia. Are you serious right now? Dead serious. You have 2 minutes. Dex, please, don't. His voice cracked slightly. Don't call me that. Just go. I saw it then. The exact moment our relationship ended. Not when I slept with Renzo, not when I asked about opening things up. But right then, when he stopped letting me use the nickname his mom called him. I grabbed my purse, my dignity in shreds. This is stupid. You're overreacting to a simple conversation. 1 minute. I left, sat in his driveway for 20 minutes, sending text after text. Apologies, explanations, accusations, threats, the full cycle of desperate manipulation. He never responded. Not once. The next day, Valerie showed up at my apartment with a box of my stuff from Dexter's house. My toothbrush, some clothes, the necklace he'd given me for Christmas. He asked me to bring this, she said, not meeting my eyes. Did he say anything else? Yeah, he said you'd know why. Val, it's not what you think. I saw the pictures, Mal. Brianna posted them on her Instagram story before deleting them. You and Renzo, midnight, sucking face like teenagers. My stomach dropped. It was just a kiss. Was it? Because Renzo's been bragging to the guys in accounting about bagging the Ice Queen. I wanted to die. Literally wanted the earth to open up and swallow me whole. I was drunk. Dex wasn't there. It just happened. Save it, Valerie said. You know what the fucked up part is? Dexter would have forgiven the cheating. Maybe, eventually. But the fact that you tried to manipulate him into an open relationship to cover your ass, that's sociopathic, Mal. She left without another word. Our friendship died that day. Another casualty of my selfishness. The aftermath was brutal. Dexter blocked me on everything. Phone, social media, email. Mutual friends chose sides, and spoiler alert, they chose his. Renzo's wife found out when someone forwarded her the pictures. She showed up at our office, caused a scene, got him fired. He tried to blame me, said I seduced him, but nobody bought it. I held on for another month before HR called me in. Creating a hostile work environment, they said. Best if we part ways. No reference, no severance, no nothing. I thought about reaching out to Dexter 100 times. Drafted emails explaining that it meant nothing, that I loved him, that I'd made a terrible mistake. But what was the point? He'd seen through me completely. Not just the cheating, but the manipulation afterward. The attempt to gaslight him into accepting my betrayal. My mom still asks about him. Such a nice young man, she says. Maybe you two will work it out. I don't have the heart to tell her how badly I fucked up. How I had a man who fixed my tire in the cold, who waited 5 months to make things official, who trusted me completely, and I threw it away for a quickie with a married coworker I didn't even like. Dexter's doing great from what I hear. Started dating some cybersecurity girl he met at a conference, someone smart, stable, who probably never drunkenly fucks her coworkers at holiday parties. Rachel unfriended me on everything, but my coworker Jeremy still follows her. He showed me a photo last month. Dexter and the new girl at some charity gala, both in formal wear, looking like they belonged in a magazine. She's pretty, Jeremy said carefully. She looks like a younger me, I replied, which was true and made it worse. They've been together 8 months now. She's already in the family Christmas photos, already has her place at the dinner table I used to occupy. Rachel posted about how amazing she is, how perfect for Dexter. The caption that killed me. So glad my brother finally found someone who appreciates what she has. The subtext was clear. I hadn't appreciated him. I'd taken him for granted, assumed he'd always be there no matter how I treated him. And now someone else got to wake up in that house in Overland Park, got to plan deck parties for kids that would never be mine. Got to be loved by a man who knew how to change a tire in the dark and wait 5 months for exclusivity. Me? I'm turning 30 in 2 weeks. Single, unemployed, living in a studio that's a massive downgrade from Dexter's house. I work customer service now, getting yelled at by strangers for 8 hours a day, barely making rent. The worst part is knowing I did this to myself. Not the cheating, that was bad enough, but the manipulation afterward. The attempt to retroactively justify my betrayal by changing the rules of our relationship. Dexter saw right through it. Walked away clean, no drama, no second chances, just done. Sometimes I drive past that spot on Highway 70 where we met. Think about what would have happened if I'd just called AAA instead. If he'd kept driving. If I'd been a different person, someone capable of appreciating what I had. But I wasn't. I was just another girl who thought she could have her cake and eat it too. Who thought she was smart enough to manipulate her way out of consequences. Turns out I wasn't that smart. I wasn't the exception. I was the cliché. And the cake? It was poisoned from the first bite. Happy fucking 30th to me.